Welcome back everyone, it is now October 12th of 2022, and not only are we getting closer to a lot of other Star Wars shows out there, like Tales of the Jedi, Bad Batch 2, Mando 3, and even Ahsoka, and beyond that we have a lot of other announcements also on the horizon that will be made by John, George, Dave, and of course Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, it is greatly appreciated. Now, given that there are a handful of new Star Wars projects in different phases of development at the same exact time, John and Dave really have their hands tied. I mean, they are really busy people, working around the clock, day in and day out, essentially, making things happen, being very persistent, trying to get things rolling and happen for the Star Wars fandom. Now, with that being said and all, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with what's been going on behind the scenes, with, of course, the Star Wars universe. Now, Bob Chapek, I do have to give him a little bit of credit for this, because he's the one allowing Favreau and Filoni to do exactly what they want to do, with all of the upcoming shows, books, comics, novels, and even some of the films that are in the very early stages as we speak. And that brings us to the specific subject today and exactly how it involves Bob Chapek. Now, Bob Chapek obviously is trying to create this legacy of his own, trying to create this special time of Star Wars, this golden age of the franchise, as much as he can before he plans to leave, by the way, by 2024, which he's having a lot of thoughts about doing that right now, even though he extended his contract a couple of months ago. So, with that being said, with many new Star Wars projects in the works under Disney, both Favreau and Filoni are beginning to develop new Star Wars lore that will be made canon soon. Now, it's noted, however, that with Disney executives regrouping and forming up a plan for the future of the franchise, Bob Chapek recently came forward and made a very exciting statement for the fandom by saying the following. Looking back at when Bob Iger was running things, it was very clear to us now that there needed to be a plan from the start to keep things consistent for the community. Bob Chapek goes on to say, "That's why from this day forward we are actively discussing ways that we can focus on creating big, wide-scale films that will focus on different eras in the Star Wars universe. We are constantly forming strategies to creating multiple trilogies of films, and how we can make that all possible, such as taking the characters that we have introduced in the Mandalorian series, and how we can make things happen with those characters in feature films is something that we are currently looking into right now, along with other ways that we will be exploring the Skywalker saga again, and events that take place in between the movies." Now, let me just stop here for a second. Now, you guys may recall years ago, there was a very light plan by Disney to eventually create Mandoverse-era Star Wars films. Basically, now that's what's in the serious talks of creating a new sequel trilogy in a sense. Basically, of course, it's going to take place before 7, 8, and 9, but at the same exact time, it's going to be treated as a new post-Return of the Jedi trilogy, so to speak. And that really kind of brings things to question, right? Whenever you focus on feature films, how are they going to execute all of this? That's the biggest thing of all. Now, given that they're focusing on different eras and different trilogies to actually create, this is exactly why Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie fell apart. This is exactly why Taika Waititi is getting shown the door very soon. The solo films are just not working for Disney right now. They cannot find the proper vision, the proper creator to handle a solo Star Wars film, and that's why they want to focus on large-scale films again, and especially in the trilogy formats. Basically, their plan right now is to slowly move back into the cinemas. So let's get right back into this, of what he actually additionally has to say about this. Now, Chapek goes on to also state the following. "So, I go to meetings every single day, and we are getting closer to finally being able to tell everyone the visions that we have." Separate from what Chapek and his statement, of course, this all alludes to Disney forming a new sequel trilogy that is set to focus on all the characters like Luke, Din, Grogu, Ahsoka, and more, as seen in the Mandoverse. Now, with new episode films like 10, 11, and 12 also in the very early stages, they are also forming a plan to create an Old Republic trilogy as well. However, here's the kicker, one of these trilogies are planned to release on Disney Plus as a platform, to open up space for theatrical releases of other trilogies. Disney is trying to create a plan to slowly move back into making films and bringing those movies and frequency of films to a Marvel level. That's a very important thing that I think a lot of fans need to pay attention to, is that Disney is now creating this plan to boost up the frequency of Star Wars movies again, but on a Marvel scale. What do I mean by that? Well, when you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's a movie almost every other couple of months. I mean, let's not deny that. Every couple of months, there's a new Marvel movie out. Basically, Disney wants to do something like that, where they'll have a trilogy movie, and then followed by another spin-off film or solo film, and then picking up the second trilogy movie, and another spin-off or solo movie. Kind of like what they kind of did that already as a test with the sequels, and then they called it a day. The sequels, you had The Force Awakens, then you had Rogue One, then you had The Last Jedi, then you had the solo Star Wars story spin-off, then you had Rise of Skywalker. The earlier plan was that after Rise of Skywalker, they were going to have the Kenobi movie, then followed by the David Benioff and D.B. Weiss trilogy. That all fell apart, unfortunately, but that's the new format that they want to revive and bring back to the theaters, and you know what? I couldn't be more excited. That's the proper way Star Wars needs to be. As much as I love Disney Plus, you know, when it comes to Star Wars TV shows, except for Kenobi and Boba, I'm very excited for what they're doing with Mando 3 and 4, Ahsoka, and a lot more shows on the horizon. But there's no denying the fact that Star Wars is meant to be in the theaters. To me, shows are good and all, but I think that they're really good as a supplement, you know, to kind of like put things on the side. And that's exactly what Disney is aiming to do again. So, like I said, guys, you know, at the end of the day, Chapek is trying to change things. He's trying to make things back to the way things used to be. Let's not forget that initially, Disney had plans to make Star Wars TV shows as a side thing, not a main thing. And it kind of became the main thing now because of how streaming is getting so popular. I'm not, you know, kind of complaining about that or anything. You know, streaming is great and all. I mean, it's very successful. We get some quality content like Cobra Kai on Netflix is a great example there. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the theaters, but Star Wars is a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame. You know, it needs to be in the theaters at least while Star Wars TV shows are also releasing. And I think that's exactly why some fans are kind of like hungry for more, you know, theatrical releases because of this large hiatus. So, like I've said before in the past, guys, Chapek is going to make things happen. He's giving Favreau and Filoni all these different promotions, and great things are coming. So overall, you know, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.